Hi, welcome back to WOW, the Wealth Optimization Workshop Series. Having a great time helping educate people piece by piece on their financial planning. Scott Collier, the call dog here. Again, we're dealing with non-controllable events, and particularly what happens when you pass away. I know that's not the fun stuff. You want to dive into all the fun retirement planning and investment strategies. We're going to hit all that. Don't you worry. You just hold with us. Watch for future episodes, but this is important to understand. When it comes to life insurance that we've been touching on, one of the common things we see is around mortgage insurance, mortgage protection, wanting to protect that valuable asset, your home, so your family, your loved ones can keep the home that you've worked hard to build. Now, what we find though is that people do not have a good understanding of why they should have personally owned coverage to protect their mortgage rather than creditor insurance through their bank or mortgage company. We're not saying don't use those guys for their mortgage if they've got great rates, fantastic, but own the protection personally, not through the creditor plan where they own it, where they're the beneficiary. You want a plan where you own it, you control it, and you're the beneficiary. You don't want it attached to the debt because they can trap you into that institution if your health changes in the future. You want the flexibility to take your mortgage where the best rates will be and where it's your best interest, and personally owning it matters. So, if we're going to use an example, obviously different values of homes. Let's say you have a $250,000 mortgage, just for an example. Same concept applies regardless. Right? Every week, every month, you're making payments. Your payments are going down. Let me ask you this. Do you expect to live longer than your mortgage? Probably you're going to. Now, if you got a commitment from God that you're guaranteed to live longer, I guess you don't need any coverage for your mortgage. But we know that there isn't that guarantee, which is why we have the protection to make sure our family can keep the home. Does that make sense? But if you pay your mortgage down to zero on a creditor plan, the insurance is gone. On a personally owned plan, the value does not decrease just because you're paying down your mortgage. The benefit would be level at whatever amount you set it at, and it's going to pay out the full benefit to your loved ones, to your beneficiaries, regardless of what the debt looks like. You have the option to keep the coverage, use it for other purposes, okay? To do as you choose. You get the control. On a creditor plan, let's say you pay your mortgage down to $30,000 and something happens to you, they're just going to pay off the $30,000, not the full $250,000 that you started with. Now, sooner or later, at some point in life, you're going to cross the line of insurability. So if you're doing 5-year mortgages, 5 years from now, if you had a creditor plan, are you still insurable from a health perspective? Hopefully, probably. We're not sure though, right? So now you're switching institutions to get a better mortgage rate. Now your health's going to be based on this point in time and a higher age. So even though your mortgage may be going down, your cost could be going up. How about 5 years after that, or 5 years after that? At what point in your mortgage are you going to cross a line of insurability where you can't get protection anymore? Where a personal plan, doesn't matter where you take the mortgage, you have the control of that, pays out the full value regardless of what happens. Here's something else to be aware of that's important when it comes to your mortgage protection. Often people don't realize this. When you own a plan personally, people feel, oh, it's a pain in the behind because we got to deal with qualifying, we got to answer all these medical questions. Maybe they write to my doctor. If I have a big enough plan, maybe I need to do blood or urine or whatnot to see whether or not I can qualify. And they think that's a bad thing. I'm telling you right now, it's not. It is a good thing. Because when you get approved here, you know that coverage can't be taken away from you in the future. It's guaranteed to pay out if something happens to you. With most creditor plans, what happens is they do the bulk or all of the underwriting once you pass away. So over here something happens, now they go back to that date and investigate in your medical records to see if you should have been approved for coverage in the first place. And if they can find some weasel clause or some way to say, well, we didn't know that they had such and such health issue, often we're seeing challenges of people not getting out their mortgage paid off the way they expected it would be, even though they may have paid for years into that mortgage protection. So again, why we encourage you is so important. Own your coverage personally, not through your creditor. it's much better for you and your family, and the costs are much more effective in the long run. Hope that makes sense. Look forward to sharing more ideas with you soon. Take care.